Okay, good morning and welcome. This is Yoga Hour and my name is Cadre. I hope everyone is well. So this morning I have a short little paragraph from Ram Dass, and he was a spiritual teacher. And he wrote several books, or probably more than several. Many books. One of the ones that's well known is called Be Here Now. It's a very interesting book. He had a very interesting life as well. There's a couple documentaries about him, so if you have some time. But the quote, or the short paragraph, when you go out into the woods and you look at trees, you see all these different trees. Some of them are bent. Some of them are straight, some of them are evergreens, and some are other kinds. And you look at the tree and you allow it. You see why it is the way it is. You sort of understand that maybe it didn't get enough light, and so it turned in that direction. And you don't get all emotional about it. You just allow it. You appreciate the tree. The minute you get near humans, you lose all that. And you say, you are to this or that, and I am to this or that way. That judgment mind comes in. And so I practice turning people into trees, which means appreciating them just the way they are. Mr. Well done. So I'll just leave that one as it is. And yes, we'll be doing tree pose today. Okay, so let's take a few moments and find your comfortable seat. And then soften the gaze of your eyes just in front of you, or close your eyes down completely. And place your hands wherever is comfortable. And adjust your body, your torso, maybe leaning a little to the left, to the right, finding your center. Same with your shoulders. Maybe move them slightly to the left, to the right, forward, backward, just to find your center. And then lift up through your chest. Soften your face. And soften your jaw, and soften your skin. And then observe your breath, allowing your breath to breathe itself. And then participating just somewhat in your breath. So noticing and trying to make each inhalation smooth and steady and equal in length to each exhalation. Sometimes we do a count for each inhale. I usually do a 5 count and then a 5 count for each exhale, called Samavritti, or equal or rhythmic breathing. And then maybe add a short pause to the top of the inhale and the bottom of each exhale. So participate in the breath, but still allowing it to breathe itself. We'll just take a few moments here. And then return to your natural rhythm, the rhythm of your breath, and just observe. And this is also a good time to just check in with your body and see how you're feeling today. See if you have less energy, more energy, if there's any injuries that you need to maybe modify in your practice today. And then keep your hands where they are or bring your palms together at heart center. And I'll start class with 1 Om. Feel free to join in or join in by listening. And take a full inhale and exhale completely. And then inhale once again. And bring your chin to your chest. And release your hands, bring your chin out of your chest, and then slowly open your eyes. Okay, we'll start in child's pose. So child's pose, knees are outer hip width apart, your big toes come to touch behind you, hips down and back on your heels, and then bring your torso towards your mat, crawling your hands towards the front of your mat, keeping your hands shoulder width apart or slightly wider. You can bring your forehead and tip of nose down to your mat or one or the other. Whatever's comfortable on your neck area, whether it's your forehead down or the tip of your nose or both. Take a full inhalation, and as you exhale, maybe sink closer to your mat. And keep reaching your hands forward and your hips down and back. If you have a block handy today, I don't know if we'll use it. It's possible. And the playlist on Spotify is CY Namaste on my Spotify, which is CADRECY. I think it's 108 actually. So keep crawling each fingers towards the front of your mat, spreading your fingers wide, stretching along the side of your torso. Full inhalation and exhale, and then inhale again and come up onto hands and knees. Shift your knees so they're under your hips and your wrists just under your shoulders or slightly in front of. So hands are shoulder width apart or slightly wider. Spread your fingers evenly and index fingers pointed straight ahead or parallel to one another. Tops of feet to the floor. Squeeze your knees in towards each other and squeeze your palms in towards each other and down towards your knees. So your abdomen is toned, gaze is slightly forward. And then take a full breath in. And as you exhale, round your back like a cat or cat pose. So chin towards your chest, belly button towards your spine. And then cat pose, hands down and forward, knees, feet down and back. And then inhale, reverse the movement into cow pose. Cow pose, you're dragging your hands towards your knees, knees towards your hands, belly button towards your mat, chin out of your chest. And then continue with your breath, making your breath to each pose. So exhale, cat pose, inhale, cow pose.
Warming up your spine, your forearms.
You can even shift side to side if that feels good.
Starting to wake up, maybe you just crawled out of bed.
Maybe you were awake to see the gorgeous sunrise, which was quite nice. Okay, come to a neutral spine. Walk your hands towards the front of your mat, about a handprint. Again, make sure your fingers are spread evenly, your index fingers pointed straight ahead. Squeeze down onto all of your knuckles, your 4 knuckles into the mat, especially your pointer finger knuckle. Keep those planted in and then squeeze your fingertips back and creates a small cupping to the hands. Curl your toes under and then lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent. Towel on here. So hands down and forward, hips up and back, keeping your knees bent and your feet hip width apart. Maybe working each leg towards straight. This is still early on. Keep your breath going. Wrapping your outer shoulder towards your mat or towards the center. So the middle of your elbows are pointed more towards each other. You don't want a rounding in your back. You want it more in line with wrists, shoulders, hips. Maybe a slight curve in your lower back. So to achieve that, you may have to bend your knees and sit bones towards the ceiling. And then if you can maintain that, you can work each heel down towards the mat. And take a full breath in and exhale. And then inhale, shift forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. So heels come vertical, belly button towards your spine, tailbone tucked under, press into the mat, and then shift forward slightly, option to lower your knees down, or go through chaturanga and come on down to your mat. Arms alongside your torso, palms facing up. One at a time, lift and lengthen your legs back behind you like you're trying to get some more length in each leg. So tops of feet on the floor, and then lift your head, lift your chest, shoulders towards your spine, and then down your back slightly. We'll then inhale and lift everything off the mat, except for your hips, squeezing your thumbs towards each other, reaching your hands back towards your heels, reaching your feet back behind you, and squeezing your heels towards each other. Kneecaps are pointed down. Keep breathing and keep lifting through your chest. Arms are straight, legs are straight. And then lower down. Plant your hands just outside your lungs. Keep your elbows tucked in towards your sides. Curl your toes under. Option again, knees on or off the mat. Come up into plank pose and into downward facing dog. So again, in your down dog, check to make sure your fingers are spread evenly. Your hands should be shoulder width apart. Press your hands down and forward, feet down and back, sit bones towards the ceiling. Keep your abdomen toned. Take a few breaths. And then gaze between your hands, place some weight onto your left hand, left foot, and step your right foot forward between your hands. Here's where you could use a block. If you want to lift the floor up a little higher and place your left hand on the block. Otherwise, hand down. You can also cup your hand onto the mat. So back heel's vertical, back leg straight and strong. Squeeze your right hip, left inner thigh towards each other, and make sure your front knee is in line with your ankle, not beyond. So thighs more parallel. Place your right hand just above your right thigh and twist open to the right. And stay here or lift your top arm towards the ceiling. Keep squeezing your right hip and left inner thigh. Reach across your chest. And then release that hand. You step forward with your left and step back with your right. So you're in the lunge position again. So back heel vertical, back leg straight and strong. Squeeze your left hip, right inner thigh towards each other. And then make sure your left knee is in line with your ankle and not beyond. Again, you can place your block, place your hand to your block, and then press into, you block your floor. Left hand comes to your left knee. Squeeze and twist open to the left. So originate the twist from your belly to your chest, and then maybe bring your top arm towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. And even squeeze your left heel and your back foot towards each other. Add some more engagement in your legs and open more across your chest. Gaze up or down. And then bring both hands back down to your mat. Step back into plank pose. Option again, lower your knees. So anytime we're in plank pose, your knees can come down. Actually, anytime we're in class, you can just come on down into child's pose or as you wish. And then shift forward maybe just a little bit, bend your elbows, and come on down to your belly. Okay. So bring your arms alongside your torso again, palms facing up, one at a time. Lift and lengthen your feet back, so growing some more length in each leg. And then you can repeat locust, the one we just did, or interlace your hands behind your hips and make a U shape with your hands. Keep your elbows bent. The tops of feet on the floor, pressing into the mat. Lift your chest, lift your shoulders up and in towards your spine, and stay here with elbows bent or work your arms towards straight. Make sure you're opening in your chest and not rounding your shoulders forward. This is a big opening. And then lift your legs up off the floor. Reach your hands towards your heels and your heels away from you. Kneecaps pointed down, legs are straight, chest lifted. Keep breathing. And then lower all the way down. Plant your hands just beside your chest. Elbows tucked in. Curl your toes under. Lift up into plank pose. And then hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Gaze between your hands and step. Let's do left foot forward between your hands. So back heel vertical, back leg straight and strong, left knee in line with ankle, not beyond. Walk your hands on the inside of your left foot. Pivot your back heel down and walk your hands out in front for down dog lunge. You can keep your hands shoulder width apart or slightly wider. You can also cup your hands or place them flat down onto your floor. Tuck your left glute under. Squeeze your left heel and back heel towards each other. Stay in the pose. We're creating some heat here. And then walk your hands on either side of your front foot
Back heel comes vertical, step forward with your right, step back with your left. Walk your hands on either side of your front foot. Your back heel comes down to your mat and your hands out to the left. So tuck your right glute under. Squeeze your right heel and back heel towards each other. Again, make sure your knee is not beyond your ankle. And stretch down and forward, wall to the left with your hands. And feet towards each other. Keep breathing. And then walk your hands back. Your back heel comes vertical. Step back into plank pose. Rest your hands down and drag your hands towards your feet. Tuck your tailbone under. Tone your abdomen, gaze slightly forward. Option to do push-ups if you'd like to. 0 to 5, knees down or knees up. Keeping your elbows in towards your sides. And come on down to your belly when you're ready. Okay. So tops of feet on the floor, feet about hip width apart. Bring your arms out in front of you and like karate chop onto the floor. So pinky edge of your hand onto the floor. Your arms are shoulder width apart. And then drag your arms back maybe about an inch, which will lift your chest up. So big chest forward, arms slightly back. And then lift your left leg and right arm, reaching in opposing directions. Keep gazing forward. So your back knee is pointed down towards your mat. Your right palm is facing in. And then release and switch. So left arm up, right leg up. Keep your right knee pointing down. And left arm reaching forward, palm facing in. And then lower down. And lift everything off the mat. So arms up, arms straight, legs straight behind you, kneecaps pointed down. Maybe inhale, lift a little higher, and then exhale, come on down. Place your palms just outside your chest, arms, elbows in towards your side, curl your toes under, lift up into plank pose, and hips up and back for downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And take a breath. Again, you can always work with knees bent in down dog to get that small rounding in your back. Then gaze between your hands and step your feet in between your hands. Bend your knees. Bring your hands to your shins and slowly come on up into Tadasana. All right, maybe take a drink of water. Then come to the front of your mat, or be my middle. Bring your feet together. You can also have them hip width, but just be aware what your choice is. Tone your thighs, tone your abdomen, tuck your tailbone down and under, lift your chest, and lift your arms overhead, and interlace your palms, flip your palms towards the ceiling, and straighten your arms, lifting up and back with your arms. So you're hollowing out your armpits, keeping your chin out of your chest, rooting down through your feet, rising up through your hands. So creating maximum distance between your feet And your hands, and then release. Bring your right hand to your hip. Lift your left arm up. So reach up as if you're gonna grab something to the ceiling, and then bring your torso to the right, hips to the left. Bring some more weight into your right foot and stretch up. Trying not to collapse in the right side, but creating length there as well. Full breath in. And exhale, maybe sink a little more to the side. And then come back to center, left hand to left hip. Right arm up, so palms facing in, reach up, stretch up first, so creating maximum distance from your right foot to your right hand, and then torso to the left, hips to the right. Keep your chin out of your chest. Maybe bring your right shoulder back slightly so you're as sideways as possible. Take a full inhale and exhale, maybe sink a little more. Come back to center and place both hands to your hips. Okay, balance on your left foot. So left leg, toe thigh, slide your kneecap up, tighten your glute, lift your chest. Right knee out to the side, so work either with your toes down to your mat, or you can assist with your hand, grabbing your ankle and placing your heel at the root of your left thigh. And this is our tree pose. So right knee out to the side, trying to keep your hips level, lift your chest, place your palms together at heart center, squeeze your foot and thigh together, wherever it is, but always avoid your knee joint. Take a full inhale, lift up through your chest, maybe bring your arms overhead, gaze slightly up where the ceiling and the wall meet, tuck your tailbone under, keep your belly engaged, lift your chest, and appreciate your tree as it is. Bring your palms back down to heart center, and then release your foot. Second side. So standing on your right leg, tone the thigh, slide your kneecap up. Left knee out to the side. So again, work wherever you want. Just avoid the knee joint. Maybe lift your left leg up from the inside, grab your ankle, and place the heel to your root of your right thigh. Pressing your thigh and your foot together. Lifting your chest, palms together at heart center. Again, trying to keep your hips more level, just so you're not dumping the weight into your right hip, and keeping that leg straight and down to the ground. So you're rooting down through your right, rising up through your chest. Maybe bringing your palms or arms up, palms facing in, or you can bring your palms together as well. Gaze up to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Rise up, reach up, and then palms back down to heart center, and release your foot down. Okay, come to, you're probably at your front of your mat. So front of your mat, feet about hip width or slightly narrower. Lift your chest, lift your arms overhead, and then forward fold. Utkatasana, bending your knees, getting all 10 fingers down to the mat, just outside your feet. Step your left leg back into a lunge pose. So back heel vertical, back leg straight and strong. Maybe wiggle your back foot further back to add a little bit more length, and then lower your left knee down. Option to roll up the side of your mat, or if you have just a small pad, as long as you can get the stability, and put that under your knee. So keeping your right knee in line with your ankle, And your back toes can be either flat or curled under or the top of your foot on the floor. That's a preference. Lift your torso upright, hands to your hips, and gaze forward. Lift your chest, belly button towards your spine, so engaging all across your abdominal muscles. An option to stay here or reach back, interlace your hands all the way to the webbing, create that U shape. Lifting your chest, shoulders towards your spine. Keep your elbows bent, or option to straighten your arms, so hands towards your back foot. Squeeze your right hip, left inner thigh, right heel, left knee towards each other. And take a full inhalation. And as you exhale, maybe sink your hips down and forward. So reaching your arms back and right glute towards right heel. So this is monkey lunge. Keep lifting your chest, maybe gaze up slightly. And remember, don't give up flexibility for strength, and vice versa. Don't go beyond your capacity. And then release your hands. Bring both hands surrounding your right foot. Lift your left knee up and step forward with your left and step back with your right. So coming into your lunge position. So back heel vertical, maybe wiggle your back foot back slightly, and then lower your right knee down. Again, you can curl your mat under, add more padding to your knee. And then squeeze your left heel, right knee towards each other. Lift your torso upright, hands to your hips. So we're starting with our front shin vertical, thigh parallel. Inhale, lift your chest, and then interlace your hands back behind you. Again, keep your elbows bent. Lift your shoulders up and in towards your spine, so your elbows are pointing back behind you. And full inhale, maybe working your arms towards straight, reaching your palms towards your back heel. And then inhale again. And as you exhale, maybe sink down, your hips down towards your mat. So your left glute towards your left heel. Keep squeezing in towards the center. Maybe lift your chest a little more towards the ceiling. Maybe chin out of chest, head back, reach back, and then release. Bringing both hands surrounding your front foot, curl your back toes under, lift your knee, step forward with your right, and slowly with your knees bent, come on up. Then come to the middle of your mat, facing the long edge of your mat, and take a wide stance. So wide stance, if your arms are parallel to the floor, your ankles are under your wrists. So that's your wide stance. And bring your hands to your hips for a moment. So check with your feet. Hello, feet. Your heels are the widest part of your foot. So make sure your feet are not turned out, but your heels are either parallel to the pinky toe edge, or your foot, your pinky toe edge of your foot, is lined up with the edge of your mat. Straighten, strengthen your legs. Inhale, lift your chest. And then dig your right heel in and turn your right toes open, 90 degrees. Line up your front heel, your right heel with this back center arch, your left foot. Lift your chest again, lift your arms parallel to the floor. And then as you exhale, bend your right knee, coming into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Tuck your tailbone under. Make sure your right knee is out to the right slightly. Your shin stays vertical, so straight up and down. Should be able to see your first 3 to 4 toes. Trying to keep your shoulders over your hips, and then soft gaze over your right fingertips. Keep pressing your back foot down, front foot down, and then apart for stability, and then squeeze them towards each other just slightly. Keep breathing. And then left hand down your back leg, right palm towards the ceiling. Keep the depth in your front leg, and then lift your arm up across your face, gazing up. Trying not to put a lot of pressure on your left hand, left leg. And then come back to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, turn your feet to parallel, and bring your hands to your hips for a break. And then turn your right toes out 90 degrees. Again, line up the front heel, back center arch, keeping your chest and hips slightly forward. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Take a full inhalation. And as you exhale, bend your left knee and come back into warrior 2. So again, left knee out to the left. Make sure your front shin is straight up and down. You can see your first 3 toes. Back heel, make sure it's the widest part of your foot. Tuck your tailbone under, press your feet down and apart. Lift your chest, belly button towards your spine, and then gaze over your left fingertips and soften your skin. So I think one difficult thing in yoga is softening in your pose. I certainly have a tendency to get really stiff. I need to soften, and that way you do with your breath as well. Right hand down your back leg, left palm towards the ceiling, and left arm up and across your face, gaze up, and try not to lose the depth in your front leg. Very good. Come back to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, turn your feet to parallel, arms to your hips, and then bring your feet to the center. And come to the back of your mat. So feet about hip width apart is fine. Lift your chest, arms by your side in Tadasana. Take a few breaths. And then right leg, step it to the middle of your mat. You can bend that knee or keep it straight. So maybe put a small bend in the knee for right now. Hands to your hips. As you bend at the waist, bringing your torso towards parallel, you're gonna lift your back leg parallel as well. So back leg parallel, point your toes, kneecap pointed down, torso parallel, bring your palms together at heart center. This is warrior 3. Keep stretching back with your left leg and also attempting to keep your hips level to the ground. Option to stay right here or bring your arms out in front, reaching forward with your hands, palms facing in, and then come on out. That's balance. And take a breath in Tadasana. And step your left foot to the center of your mat. So your left toes are pointed straight ahead. Don't allow them to turn in or out. Spread your toes. Grip the mat with your foot. Bend the left knee, and then as you bend the waist, bring your torso towards parallel and back leg towards parallel. So I find it more doable for me if my leg is straight. It makes it more of a great foundation versus keeping it bent. You'll utilize a little bit different muscles. Try to keep your hips squared towards the floor, palms together at heart center. Don't lose your focus. Reach back with your right leg Squeeze your legs towards each other. An option to stay here or bring your arms out in front, reaching forward with your arms, palms facing in. Keep reaching, and then come on out. Okay, have a seat. And lie down on your back. Keeping your knees bent. So knees about hip width apart. From here, bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then interlace your hands behind your right thigh and bring your shin straight up and down. So your right foot is flexed and like you're stepping on the ceiling. So you're in the lunge position on your back. You're gonna grab your foot if it's accessible and pull your right knee in towards your right shoulder. So your knee's gonna go wider than your chest. So big lunge, an opening in the right hip. Option to stay here, straighten your left leg along the mat. Keep pulling your right foot down towards the floor. So both hands are to your foot. And then rebend your left leg, let go of your right foot, and drop your right foot down to your mat. Left knee in towards your chest. So first interlace your hands just in front of your left shin. And then open the knee joint and grab your thigh, pulling it in, and then reach for your left hand to your pinky toe edge, right hand to your big toe edge, and then pull your foot back. So your knee is going to go wider than your shoulder, your left shoulder, and your right or left foot, sorry, is stomping on the ceiling or level with the ceiling. Keep breathing. Option to straighten your right leg along your mat. If you choose to straighten your right leg, make sure your hips are staying down to your mat, more or less. Breathe into the pose, softening as you exhale. And rebend your right knee and lower that left leg down. So lift your chest up, bring both knees in. So this is child's pose on your back, or Supta Balasana. Grab your shins and pull your knees in, and your big toes are going to stay more or less touching. From here, you're going to release your hands, bring your arms on the inside of your knees, squeeze your knees to your forearms, or not your forearms, your biceps, and reach out. So your hands about shoulder width apart, keep squeezing into the center, rounding your back like cat pose, and reaching forward with your hands. So this is crow pose on your back. Keep squeezing into the center, thighs in, and then release and take a rest. You can repeat that one or rock and roll up to a seated position and have a seat on your heels. So crow pose or Bakasana. So like you're going into child's pose, your knees come outer hip width apart, your big toes come to touch. You're gonna place your hands down and curl your toes under so your glutes are on your heels. And then lift your knees up. Your hands, spread your fingers wide, spread your fingers evenly. Point your index fingers straight ahead or slightly out to the right. Your biceps are turning in more, so the eye of your elbow is either facing each other or towards the front of your mat. Squeeze your arms in. So it's a Halloween cat, like cat round your back. Really grip the floor with all 10 fingertips keeping your knuckle joint glued down to your mat. Your gaze is forward. Typically, if you tuck your head and look back towards your toes, you're going to do a somersault, which might be fun today. So you choose. Just be careful though. Maybe put a blanket down. Okay, from here, you're going to lift your hips up, bend your elbows, and really bring your arms back in towards your shins. So clamp your knees shut, round your back, puff up, gaze forward. Maybe come onto your tippy toes, transferring some more weight onto your hands. Maybe lift 1 foot, maybe lift 2 feet, and then squeeze your feet up. Keep rounding your back, squeezing in towards the center, and then come down when you're ready. And even if you get 1 little toe up, you're getting there. Okay. And then bring your legs out in front. So legs long on your mat. Bend your knees. Lift your chest. Take a breath in and exhale out. And then lean forward, bringing your torso towards your thighs. Maybe grab pinky toe edge of your foot and your feet. And then maybe bringing each heel away from you, straightening your legs. Keep thinking chest beyond your toes. And then maybe bringing your forehead down towards your shins. This is Paschimottanasana, rest stretch. This is a forward fold. So when we do our forward fold at the front of our mat, this is the same. It's just on our back, and on our back, but our back side. And then lift your torso upright and lie down on your back. And bend your knees, feet about hip width apart. And bring your right knee in towards your chest, interlace your hands behind your right thigh, and then straighten your arms as you straighten your legs. So you're pressing your leg away from you, not trying to get your leg towards you. Want your leg straight up and down. Keep your head and your back onto the mat. Maybe make small circles with your ankle. Maybe plantar flex, dorsiflex, or point your foot, flex your foot. And then option to straighten your left leg along your mat. We bend the left leg, and we're going to bend the right leg, bringing your right foot to your mat. Left knee in towards your chest, interlace your hands behind your left thigh. And then as you push your leg away from you, straightening your arms, straighten your leg. Again, option to make circles with your foot, flex or point. Take a few deep breaths here. And then straighten your right leg along your mat. And bend your right knee if you straightened it. Bend your left leg and bring your left leg down to your mat. Right knee in towards your chest. And then open your right knee to the side, bringing your right ankle on top of your left knee. So making a figure 4. Although when I do my 4s, they're open. So. And bring your left knee in towards your chest. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh, or if it's accessible to you, in front of your left shin. Flex your foot, your right foot. Opening in your right knee. You should feel this in your right hip. Full inhalation. And exhale. And then release your hands, bring your feet back down to center. Left knee in towards your chest, left knee out to the left, and left ankle on top of right thigh. Flex that foot, so figure four, and then bring your right knee in towards your chest, interlacing your hands either behind your thigh or in front of your right shin. This is Needle's Eye, Stukhi Randrasana. And release your hands. Bring both feet down to your mat. Both knees in towards your chest and recline child's pose. Maybe rock side to side. And then both feet back down to your mat. So feet about hip width. We're going to go into bridge pose. I usually bring my hands down and my middle finger just barely touches the backs of my heels. So I know that's about my distance. Hip width apart. Two options: grab the outer edge of your mat, pull your mat apart, or as you lift your hips, interlace your hands behind your hips. And either way, wherever you have your hands, one at a time, walk your shoulders in towards your spine, keep your chin out of your chest, and then lift your hips up, feet down, keeping your knees in line with your hips, and squeezing your knees towards each other, lifting hips up, chest up, feet down, dragging your heels towards your shoulders. Press your wrists down, shoulders down, and head down. And just be mindful, sometimes this is a lot on your neck. So if you have any neck issues, come out and stay down. Full breath in, and as you exhale, release your hands and bring your hips down to your mat. And take a breath here. And then lift your hips up and drop them over to the right. Bring your arms overhead. So you can either bend your elbows or out to the side, or you can even bring your palms above your head. So as your hips over to the right, drop your knees over to the left and gaze softly over to the right. I usually walk my right foot off the mat. So my knees are staggered, not stacked. And also you can place your left heel just on top of your right thigh. Dig your heel in and push it away from you. So it just opens more into the right side of your body. And then release that, bring your feet back and hips back to center. And then switch the clasp of your hands. If you have clasped them, lift your hips up and over to the left and drop your knees over to the right. Again, bring your left foot off your mat. Gaze over to the left. You can bring your right heel just on top of your left thigh, above your knee, and press it away from you. So trying to keep your shoulders, chest down to your mat, and abdomen over to the left. Creating a nice long stretch on the left side of your body. Full breath in And exhale out. And then release that. Bring your feet and hips back to center. And one last time. Recline child's pose. Ease in towards your chest. And then bring your legs long on your mat and come into final pose. Shavasana. So arms alongside your torso. Legs long on your mat. Allow your ankles to drop out to the side. Palms facing up. Close down your eyes. Soften your skin. Relax all the muscles in your body. And all of that movement we did. Come into stillness and rest. And restore in Shavasana. Stay in Shavasana as long as you wish, or start to deepen your breath. Bring some awareness back to your body, moving your toes, your fingers. When you're ready, bend one knee at a time and roll to your right. Using the strength of your arms, return to a seated position. And keeping your eyes closed or a soft gaze at the floor in front of you. And you can bring your palms together at heart center if you wish. Rest your thumbs gently into your chest and lift of your heart into your thumbs. Also clasp with one arm. Again, feel free to join in or join in by listening. Full inhale and exhale completely. And inhale once again. Appreciate yourself and appreciate others as they are, as we're all quite different. And to acknowledge yourself, each other, and this practice. Namaste. Thank you very much for practicing. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, please, I'm here for a little while, and you can also email me any questions.
Thank you. Have a wonderful Groundhog Day.